I have helped people go from drawing only happy faces to drawing whatever they want with a ballpoint pen and no eraser in a very short period of time. I've done this over and over and over and over again. I've been teaching for 25 years, and I can tell you it can work for you as well. My name is Dawood Marion. This is See It Draw It, the channel where I make advanced art techniques more approachable for beginners. In this video, I just wanted to talk to you about everybody can draw. And I've said this a number of times on my channel, but I want to break it down in a different way today. I literally mean everybody can draw as long as you can use your hand. As long as you have dexterity, you have the ability to use your fingers in your hand to control a pen, you can draw. I've actually drew using my feet before. I was teaching in San Francisco in Golden Gate Park, and I had a classroom full of students, and I was trying to teach them that once you learn how to draw, you could pretty much draw with anything. So I took off my shoes, took off my socks, and I put the pen, or I think it was a dip pen or something, and I had it in my toes, and I drew a picture of my hand. So I posed my hand, and I looked down, and I drew the picture. I did that demonstration just to show that there's basic concepts that once you understand them, you will be able to have fun drawing. There's a lot of people that don't do art, and in my last couple of videos, I talk about the reasons why people, the average person doesn't do art, and people who do art, or let's say if you draw or paint, and I've heard so many people say, well, I used to do it. I don't do it as much. I need to do it more. I don't have the time and all these other things. There's reasons why. And it's not that you don't have the time. Look at my other videos, the videos that I uploaded just before this one. And I talk about that. I talk about the killer of why a lot of people don't do art and why a lot of people who used to do it all the time don't do it anymore. So in this video, I just want to talk about how it is that anybody, literally anybody can do it. Over the past quarter of a century, 25 years, I've taught young people and older people. I mean, people in their 60s and 70s, and people who are like, let's say 5 to 10 years old, as well as teenagers. And all of them get the same results. However, the younger they are, the less I have to teach. Why? Because when they're young, the young kids, they don't really need to be told the essentials. They're kind of born knowing what to do with a crayon. You know what I mean? So you give a kid a crayon and you tell them to draw a picture of themselves, and the first thing they do is start going like this. They just go for it. They just do the work. They don't ask any questions. They don't ask for a mirror, right? If I ask an adult to draw a picture of themselves, they're going to say, well, can I use a mirror? Can I take a picture of myself and print it out and prop that up? And, you know, there's all these stipulations involved. Whereas a little kid, nothing extra. You just say, draw a picture of yourself, and they go for it, right? They do self-portraits all the time. Actually, they draw pictures of their family all the time. Why don't we do that when we become adults? There's a reason. And what I will say is that that reason really boils down to what happened to us early on in school, the academic approach that a lot of teachers took to teaching us art. You know, you had that one teacher who was teaching math, English, spelling, and all these other things, right? That one teacher, and then that teacher would be tasked to teach art as well. And the problem is they weren't an artist. They didn't really fully understand art from a level outside of teaching art. So we understand when we see art, oh, it's something that somebody created with their hands. So all I have to do is teach a kid how to create something with their hands and give them a step-by-step. The problem is when you have that one kid who doesn't follow the step, then next thing you know, the teacher tells them that they did it wrong. And hearing that or getting graded down on art after a while, you start to get the idea that, hey, I'm not good at this. And no one told us, mostly no one told us when we were in school that everybody has their own style of art because everybody has their own DNA. We all think the same. We all think differently. We all have different experiences. We all come from different backgrounds, live in different regions of the world, different skin colors. All these different things make us make art different. But no one told us that. We were all taught to do art the same way, and it needed to look very similar as we got older. When we were in kindergarten, the teacher understood that most of the kids' art is not going to look exactly the same. But as we got older, it was like, yo, you need to draw in this way. Perfect example is when you get in either high school or college and they teach you how to draw fruit. You know, the teacher has this idea of what the fruit, what your drawing should look like. They show you all these pictures of the great masters. And I like the great masters, by the way, Leonardo da Vinci and all these other guys. It's great art, but the problem is that our goal in school was to try to draw like that. That's where a lot of us began to have problems because we couldn't draw like those people because we weren't them. Number one, those people lived in a time period like centuries ago, right? Like that was so long ago. And all those people had to do, a lot of those people who chose to be an artist, all they did was eat, drink, sleep, art. This was their whole life. This is what they did, right? Whereas nowadays we have email, we have kids, we have all this other stuff. You know, we got day jobs, we have, social media, all these other distractions. They didn't have all those distractions back then. So of course they drew differently, but we were trained to draw like them. You have to draw like the great masters. And again, I'm not dissing them because I look at their work for inspiration. Leonardo da Vinci is one of my biggest inspirations for how I draw. I actually have a style in which I mimicked after Da Vinci, but then I have other styles that I mimicked after other artists, and then I developed my own style through all of that. But I just want to say that, anybody literally can do it. The reason that most of us don't do it is because there's so much weight on top of doing it. And I've taught people to go from now in San Francisco, I used to teach this class in Golden Gate Park at a place called Sharon Art Studio. And I would teach a one-day workshop, and from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., I would have these people's attention. We would take maybe an hour break in between, but it was typically 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. They would come in drawing happy faces and stick figures at 10 a.m. By the end of the day, they would draw the entire class and everybody in it, proper proportion, proper perspective, and all this other stuff. Wasn't photorealistic, but it looked damn sure close to it. And the reason that I was able to bring that out of them, I'm not going to say teach them, I would say bring it out of them, is because I just taught them really basic principles. A lot of times our teachers make things complicated because they learned it in a complicated way. And I've actually heard from my mentor just recently, I'm not going to say the name of the artist. He's a sculptor, a very famous sculptor in the concept art field in live action films and things like that in video games. This guy holds workshops and he purposely doesn't teach his students the core ingredients that makes his sculptures come out the way they do. Why? Because he wants to be the Wizard of Oz. He wants to be the person behind the curtain that's making all the magic happen. And then if you want to learn a little more, you want to get like this, you got to take my next class. If you want to get like this, you got to take my next class. There are actually people, I just thought about that. And, I just kind of thought that maybe there were teachers out there like that. And my mentor confirmed, yes, I've actually taken this guy's class. I think he took a couple of his classes. But anyhow, there's different reasons why, people aren't able to go from drawing happy faces to drawing full out drawings with perspective, proportion, and all this other stuff in a very short period of time. It's very possible. This is hyper possible. I've seen it over and over again. I have a client, or a past client, rest in peace, Kevin Taffe in Dublin, Ireland. Kevin is not with us anymore, but he used to watch my YouTube channel, and he hit me up one time via email and said, "Hey, Daoud, I really appreciate your work. I really appreciate your videos, and you really inspired me. And I've been struggling with drawing. I've taken art classes, and I just can't seem to come up with anything." This is the kind of stuff that he was coming up with in his class just before he took my course and my coaching. That's what he produced. And when he showed me that, I was like, this is from an art class? Like, this wasn't just you just kind of going for it? He was like, no, I took an art class and this is what they taught me. And I was like, wow, you know? And so he was like, do you think you could help me out? Do you think I could really draw better? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure of it. I've seen this over and over again. And I would say within a period of a couple weeks, if he began to progress. His artwork got better and better each week, really, really fast. And the funny thing is, I always tell my wife, I'm like, I've taught this stuff for about 20, 25 years, and you would think that I would be used to it by now. You would think that I would understand that, yeah, of course, people are going to get really fast results, right? I'm not used to it yet. It's weird. I heard it's like every time it happens, like when I see people get the results really, really fast, I just feel so excited, as if it was the very first time, as if I didn't know it was going to happen. It's almost like magic every time, even though I know that it's just core basic principles. I just get really excited. Why? Because I like seeing people grow. It reminds me of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson said, no matter how many times I do concerts, I've been doing, Michael Jackson knew what he was doing. He said, no matter how many times, he said this in an interview, no matter how many times I go up on stage, I always, just before the performance, I always get extreme butterflies. I get super, nervous. And I feel that way as well every time I teach a class. I feel that way as well every time I get a new client. It's not that I don't know if I could I know that I could produce the results. And that's not from an egotistical place. That's from I've seen it too many times. So at some point you just say, okay, 2 + 2 = 4, and you're sure you're going to get that result, right? But the nervousness comes and the excitement on the back end of doing a good job comes from, you want to make sure, I make sure that I go in not from an egoic place like, oh, I know what I'm going to do, because actually different people think different ways. So I get some clients who think in one way and then other clients who think in another way. And so I have to pivot and adjust my approach. It's the same principles, but the way I deliver it pivots and adjusts depending on who I'm talking to, who I'm teaching at the time. But every time they get the results, I'm like super excited as if it was the first time. And so I finally got to the point to where, after seeing this over and over and over and over and over again, so I've gotten more confident to where I can look you straight in the eye, look the camera straight in the eye, and say that you can learn how to draw in a very short period of time. Point blank period, hard stop. The key is that there are certain core principles. I would like you to put any question that you have in the comment section below, because this is going to give me ideas for future videos. Any concepts or comments you have regarding the drawing, things that you would like me to touch on, I would love to share that with you. So put it in the comments. Also, click like on the video, because this will send it out to more people, and more people can benefit from this information. I think that most people just need to be inspired. Most people just need to know that they can do it. And so videos like this can help them with that information. Videos like this can help them with that inspiration. I'll see you in the next one.